Hello everyone, welcome back to ESL Insider. Here is where you can get information, tips, tricks for teaching ESL. You have started teaching online. Now let's get down to details. Once you have invested in the right tech, created a great online classroom atmosphere, connected with your student, and built a solid rapport. Now, it's time to keep an open mind and enhance your skill set. Let's talk about teaching vocabulary. Vocabulary is very important as it is part of the 4 systems of language: lexis, grammar, phonology, and function. These are the fundamental skills to have when learning language. How can we approach teaching vocabulary? Before teaching, sit down with your lesson plan and think about the definition of the word or words you want to teach. Really think about it. What are all its contexts? How can it be used? What place or situations can we use these words? How can you bring a word meaning across to your students? If you want to have a vocab lesson, don't pull random words together. Focus on using words where they would use it naturally. Think context. You don't want to have a list of 5 or 7 random words. Make these words connect with your students. And furthermore, the words you choose should be the words that the student would use, or active vocabulary. Active vocabulary are words that students use in real life. Passive vocabulary are words students would know, but not really use. It's good to focus more on active. Will they use this word? Is it natural? This is where teaching vocab is important for the age level. Make words make more sense for them, especially when they are at a higher level. Don't teach an adult the word apple unless they are at the very beginning of their language journey. Don't teach the concept of indecision for a child or a beginning level student. Let's talk about choosing your lexis or your vocabulary. If you're having difficulty finding the words, don't worry. Get a textbook that is appropriate for your student's level. There are loads of free teaching textbooks online. Look at the table of contents to find some suggested words. And remember not to teach lists on their own. You want to use real-life usage with the word. Your teaching should be active, not passive. Vocabulary doesn't function independently. So you can use collocations. These are words that can be grouped into patterns. So if you want to teach collocations, for example, you can use a group like make breakfast, make trouble, make a suggestion, but we wouldn't say make a question, explore why, and make sure your students understand. Grouping words together, let's take it a little further. What part of speech is the word? A noun? Adjective? Now, word morphing. This is good for students who are at a higher level. So for example, if your word is dangerous, we can also teach danger dangerously too, depending on the level. It might be helpful to see how a word can morph, but it isn't for all students. Now, we talked about making words random. Don't make words random, even if the words are in the same category. Remember, the goal is to teach the words for usage. What kind of conversation would they have with the words? This is how you can get your students to communicate better. Techniques and activities. You can't just explain something to your students and talk to them about a meaning. You have to be able to teach it directly and have it easy to digest. Here's a list of techniques and activities you can use when teaching vocabulary. Pictures and drawing, mime concepts, writing sentences, word grouping, morphing, and collocations. Eliciting matching words, close activities, synonyms or antonyms, Mad Libs, vocabulary playlist, music, and storytelling. That's enough. And that is just some of the activities and techniques to use. Let's look at just a very important and powerful technique for this video. The one technique to rule them all. Perhaps I do know what you're thinking. How to teach when you don't know the student's language. Teaching without the use of translation. I will tell you, it is illicit. It's one of the most important skills to have when teaching a language. Without it, you are just lecturing. And they are just passively taking it in. You want them active. So eliciting also allows you to check what your student already knows, which there will be a video about CCQ in the future. So be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss anything. There are many different techniques to use when eliciting. Let's look at miming, pictures, drawing, context, and definition. Use the right eliciting technique for the right word. So you have your list of active and appropriate words for your student. Now, look at the right technique for the right word. For example, let's take the miming technique. For the word eat or any action verbs, miming is a good technique. However, abstract nouns are difficult to mime. How do you mime indecisiveness? Now, let's talk about drawing to elicit. I like to use just one picture for multiple words. It will save you some time. But as I said, not all words will work with this technique. Can you draw truth, honor, kindness, or grace? And since we are here, abstract concept words can be very tricky. These types of words are difficult to elicit, so the best technique is in context or definition. Use context for all difficult words. The language scenario to try to elicit meaning of the word. This is great for more advanced levels and complex words. So for example, I want the student to understand kindness. I would put this word in a story context. I'd give examples of kindness, maybe even define kindness. Giving context situations and talking about definitions are both techniques to teach vocab, but keep in mind that you don't want to use these all the time. It would be too much teacher talking time. So now I think I know what you're thinking. How am I supposed to elicit a new word, get the student to say a word when they don't know the word? You can't, of course. You can use all the techniques, and they will not say the English word. You won't pull it out. Then you write the word. What's next? After using an eliciting technique, you have given the student meaning with the new vocabulary. They understand it, but perhaps they do not know the word and can't pronounce it. Write the word, then drill it a few times to work on pronunciation. I think this is one of the best ways to teach vocabulary. It works for both children and adults too. Number 1, use different techniques to elicit a word. Number 2, for new words, write the word letter by letter to see if they can help you finish it. And number 3, drill the word for pronunciation. And then CCQ. The last and most important thing to do for each vocab word is to concept check each word. We'll get to CCQ in a video to use soon. Practice your skills. Give yourself time to practice because it does take time to master. Finding the right technique for the right words, practicing miming and drawing, and understanding what CCQ questions to ask students. It takes practice. Keep teaching. Practice the techniques you learn. Make it fun. Let students think about, talk about, apply, and play with new words. And Webster doesn't get a word in edgewise. What is your best technique for teaching vocabulary? Keep up to date with the best ESL tips for teachers on ESL Insider. And please do like this video if you found it helpful. I will see you soon.